Hi, it's Mike Lynch with AmeriFirst Financial, and it's Monday, October the 4th, and it's time for your Monday morning mortgage update. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I don't know about you, but it really seemed like the first 2-day weekend where we had blue skies in Northern California and no smoke. Hope you got out and enjoyed the nice cool weather. Just a fantastic weekend. So let's talk about last week and what's happening this week. If you've been watching the news and watching my reports, you know that over the last 3 weeks, we've really seen rates consistently increase. However, last week, they ended the week lower than they started. This is great news. On Tuesday, we actually had the highest interest rates we've seen in 2 months. But again, that corrected. And let's keep in mind, even though we've had a slight increase to mortgage interest rates, they're still at historic lows. And I think that's an important message that we convey to our clients, our buyers, our sellers, is that rates really still are at historic lows. Affordability is still a viable thing to consider when buying a house. And if you watch the news and get all the doom and gloom, maybe people will feel it's different. But again, we've got great rates still. So what are the three things we're looking at this week that's going to possibly affect the interest rates this week? Big week for jobs, US debt, and then central banks. So let's talk about jobs. Many jobs reports are coming out this week, almost every single day. And it's the first real report, jobs reports that are coming out since the government stopped handing out free money, which ended, as we know, at Labor Day. And so Friday's a big day, big non-farm payroll report. But every day this week, starting tomorrow, we're going to get significant reports that are going to give us an idea of are people going back to work, how many jobs are actually being created. And so think about this, about 7 million people that were getting free money are not getting that money anymore. Well, they're getting a little bit of it. If you've got kids, you get $350 a kid for right now. So are those 7 million people are they going back to work? Have they started to go back to work? That's the real question. And if you look at the want ads, if you walk around town, if you look on the news and you look at Indeed and every place else, people are hiring. There's a lot of jobs out there. And the initial indication may be that those people aren't going back to work, not in the numbers that we expected or the US economy expected. And so it's still a big issue. If you talk to local business owners, they're still concerned and having trouble finding people to go back to work. So again, we're really going to be looking at these reports, finding out what the status is. Remember, if it's a strong jobs report, if people are going back to work, that's bad for mortgage rates. They'll go up. If it's a weak jobs report, meaning the economy's not doing as well, those rates will go down. Okay, so the second thing is the US debt. Yes, we're in debt. You've had to have been under a rock to know that we're not in debt. The big thing that has been in the news lately is this $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill that really isn't stimulating the economy very much. There's a lot of pork in there that people are saying, but will it pass? What amount will actually be settled on? How will we pay for it? All these questions, the debt ceiling, everything you hear in the news. And so this can pass through the normal Senate congressional hearings and passing from one chamber to the next, or the Democrats could put it as a line item in the budget, which will allow it to go through. But not everybody's on board. You know, the Democrats are pushing for this infrastructure bill, the Republicans are not. But there's a lot of Democrats that are not in favor of this huge bill. So how this all gets played out in the political arena and how it is reported in the media, it really has an impact or could have an impact on our rates. The other thing that we're hearing a lot about is this debt ceiling. And is the US going to default on US debt? A lot of reports saying this may be the first time the US actually defaults on US debt. Well, let's clarify that. There's an actual default, which you just don't pay your bills, or there's a technical default, which maybe you're behind a little bit, but ultimately you pay them. So US has never actually defaulted on our interest payments on US debt, but they have technically defaulted a number of times because political back and forth, raising the debt ceiling, what have you. So we could technically default, but we're going to pay it. We've never not paid it. So read past the headlines on that and know that yes, it isn't a good thing that we technically default, but we've done it many times before, and we're still around. So we'll be watching that to see how that affects those rates. And then the last thing, our Federal Reserve members, central bank, our Federal Reserve members are going to be speaking in the media, being interviewed this week, and we're really looking at their insight on moving forward with tapering and what the Fed's mindset is on inflation. So remember, as inflation goes up, we've got wage inflation, we've got product inflation, we've got supply issues. As that inflation goes up, mortgage rates go up. Is this inflation going to stick? Is it permanent? Or is it something that the Fed thinks probably will back off once the economy starts kicking in? And tapering. That's when the Fed buys less mortgage-backed securities, which they've been buying in billions and billions of dollars since the pandemic started. So they've announced that they're going to start pulling back on buying those mortgage-backed securities in November. Are they going to continue this path? Is the COVID variant and the infections, is that going to cause people to slow down? Are the jobs going to affect the growth of the economy? So if they stick to that November date, then that really means money is going to be flowing out of the bond market, and it could actually force the bond traders to start increasing the interest rates on mortgage-backed securities, and so we'll be watching that as well. So big economic week this week. We're starting the week out very carefully floating, watching those jobs numbers, and we'll obviously adjust as the market changes. If you or any of your clients need any insight on mortgage rates, please let me know. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear your comments down below. Thank you, and have a great productive week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.